Welcome back to another spoiler review for Outer Range. This week, episode 3 and 4. So, this week, we get two episodes that, to be completely honest, I found kind of like, not underwhelming, like it was interesting. I'm quite interested in the characters and the mystery murder. Well, we know what the murder is, but like kind of the whole crime investigation kind of angle of it all. But after the huge, crazy, insane looking inside the void and going through time or to another dimension or whatever the hell was going on, you know, ending of episode 2 where it was like, bam, this is what's going on, look inside the void, isn't it crazy? And just all that madness. I am a little disappointed we didn't even get like a little bit, like a little snippet. Like I didn't want like a full episode or anything because, you know, we're still early on in the series and the season. But now that we're halfway for the season, you know, only 8 episodes, I kind of at least would have wanted just a little bit of a snippet, a little bit more of that void universe world, future time, whatever it is. And not to like, they don't have to explain anything, but just show more of that, because that was kind of the big hook that kind of made me go, oh, I'm not just kind of like pretty interested in stuff. I'm like super into this show. This is crazy and wild. What is happening? And honestly, the sci-fi aspects I enjoy more than the Western side. So that's kind of like, overall, I'm a little bit disappointed we didn't get that. That being said, I still really enjoyed these 2 episodes. The cast is an absolute delight. Josh Brolin is just so at home with his cowboy hat and his grizzly, manly man voice and just, I don't know, just, he's so at home in this kind of Western setting, this Western world, this cowboy lifestyle. And I just love seeing him kind of just portray a cowboy man, and it's just a lot of fun. Will Patton also is just really good as the kind of the mostly bedridden, sickly kind of, you know, he's got all the contraption stuff and he's got the things around his face where like he's got a sickness of some kind. He's like a bit old and stuff, but then he keeps going on crazy, rambling monologues. Last time we got a great one. This week we've got like an insane one where someone's like, the hearing's coming up, and he's like, hearing, I'll tell you about hearing, bats, moths, they're hearing, they have sex with hearing, they're all like, and I'm like, dude, they're talking about a different hearing, and you know that. Like, what are you saying, man? You're going crazy! And I'm all here for it. Absolutely love his performance. You know, the start of the 4th episode, when he gets, like, this rock, which at first I'm just like, how does he know there's such, like, a thing about this rock? Especially when we find out he hasn't seen the void or knows anything about the void, because at the end of the episode, he sees the void for the first time. Great reaction as well. Just, like, so much joy and wonder in him. He's just, like, so delighted to see this giant vacuum void of supernatural, mysterious, whatever the hell. And he's just so delighted, and it's really, really fun. Anyway, he's got the rock, and he's doing a little dance, a little yee-haw dance, yoo-ha-ha-ha, with the rock. And he's all excited, yee-hawing about and stuff. But it's like, what does he think the rock is? Like, I don't know, when I first saw the rock at the start of the episode, I'm just like, I don't understand what's happening. Like, what does he think's inside the rock? Like, there's a bit of a carving and a thing, and there's like little black dots in there, but it's like, what does he think it is? Like, at first I just was like, is that like seeds? It's like, I don't know. I was just like, what does he think it is? Why does he think it's so important? Or does he just have like this feeling about it? Like, because he keeps being like, oh, something's coming, which I at first thought he kind of knew something about the void, like he knew that it was there or something like that, and that's why he wants to land. But it appears he just wanted to land because he's hungry for land. Oh, why do I want the land? I'm hungry for land. You know, as he said in that first crazy man monologue. I'm hoping that every episode, or at least every 2 episodes, he just has an insane monologue of just add-on madness. And yeah, his performance is really, really great. That's kind of the highlight at this point for me, like a lot of the performers. Tom Pelphrey is also like, I think my favorite actor in the cast, but he's not really been given anything to chew on yet. He's still kind of just very, very sad over like the missing of his wife, and he didn't really get that much play in these 2 episodes, which is kind of surprising. We kind of focus more on the bull riding brother, whose name I don't know. I don't really know any of their names, but he's really, really great. His kind of girlfriend from the past, like long life past, coming back to, she's back in town. Oh shit. I kind of thought she would just be like, yep, I love my sexy cowboy, bull riding manly man. And she'd just be like, yeah, he was with me. But she's just like, no, I don't want any part of this. And like immediately just kind of pushes him away, which I found kind of really interesting and different. Like, it usually doesn't go that way with this kind of story. So a couple of people in the comments had a really amazing, crazy theory where they're like, I think the little daughter girl is the hitchhiker girl lady, and they're the same person, time travel or whatever. And honestly, as soon as I thought about that, I'm like, yeah, because she doesn't know her first 9 years, and this girl's probably around 8 or 9, so she's, you know, going to be thrown in the void soon or something like that, or something's going to happen, and, you know, that makes sense to me. And just watching this episode, I'm like, It's totally that. It's totally that. Maybe it's just because, like, that's where my mind's been placed. I've been thinking about it like that. But there's so much about her character. Like, every time I just look at her as the elder one, I'm like, yeah, I even see the resemblance now. But maybe I'm overthinking it because I'm kind of wanting that theory to be true. I love it. I love it in a show where someone's like, I'm you, but from the future, or I'm you from the past. Rub it in your time travel. And they, got to interact and stuff. It's always a lot of fun. It just, I really enjoy that theory. I think it's totally true. Nothing so far makes me go, oh, but what about this or this? So I think that's totally on the money. Speaking of crazy sci-fi stuff, the main thing we get is towards the end of the 3rd episode, there's a big mountain, and then suddenly it just goes poof. And it just turns to dust, and there's all the crows and birds just being like, oh, Jesus, what the hell? And they're freaking out because the mountain disappears. Josh Brolin's reaction is just kind of like, yep, that happened. Like, he almost has no reaction. I guess he doesn't want her to turn around and see it, but it's like, he has no reaction. Like, he's just kind of like, yeah, well, shit's crazy now. We got this void down on our pasture. And it's just like, what? What do you mean? I would have been like, what in God's name is happening? Like the sheriff when she's driving, she just sees it and it's like, wah! Crazy. Awesome stuff. Love the idea of mountains just going, poof, I'm gone. And then being like, I'm back. What was happening? I don't know. Is that some kind of like temporal disturbance, or, the ground kind of moves and shakes because it's, the body was being thrown back in time? But wouldn't the body come back out kind of like where he came back out? Weren't they both near the hole again? Like, I don't know what's happening. Maybe there's multiple holes in the past, or maybe because the Earth rotates or whatever. I'm not a scientist, but the Earth rotates and stuff, so maybe, when they throw him out, it's a different time, so he comes back in a different area. Well, who knows? At first, I was like, is that, from so far in the future that the mountain has gone? But then I'm like, no, the mountain disappearing and, like, crumbling to just rubble would take centuries, not like the couple of years that it appears to be in the future when they're in the future void place. So far in these newest 2 episodes, there isn't really anything kind of new to kind of be like, well, this kind of confirms this or this and this. Like, it seems to kind of just, the like mysterious big rock disappearing, mountain disappearing. But apart from that, it kind of really just focuses on the sheriff and her investigation into the murder and investigating the family. Lots of questioning scenes, lots of, interrogation, crime kind of stuff. And that's all a bit of fun. I really do like the sheriff character. She's a really great, like, character. I'm really enjoying her investigating stuff. I think it is going to get more exciting when more people find out about the void, though, because Will Patton, when he gets there at the end of the episode and he sees the big void and he's just like, oh boy, that's a big supernatural void and I'm all here for it. That's kind of the more exciting stuff. And I do like the, the cowboy western stuff. Like, there's another bull riding thing and everyone's like cheering, and I don't really understand bull riding. It seems insane and maybe a little cruel, but I'm not here to talk about any of that. I just love and I respect people just getting up and cheering and screaming about a sport, though. I'm all about that. Man, if you saw me cheering for my team playing football, you'd be like, that man needs to calm down. And I do, honestly. Every weekend, my blood pressure, oh boy. I do kind of wish at the end of the episode where Josh Brolin and Will Patton are punching each other and wrestling and doing their whole macho man thing and fighting over the void, I'm just like, fall into the void! Fall into the void! And I just really wanted them to both tumble and fall into the void, and then both of them are in the void world and like, we're enemies, but we've got to work together to get back into the void and go back to our time and, do that whole shtick. Or maybe they get there and they're still enemies. I don't know. I just wanted to get back into that void world. Show me more void world out of range, please. We get a new character in Will Patton's ex-wife or estranged wife, or I don't know. She's the mum of the Tillerman family kids, whatever. And I really like her. It kind of feels like the brains of the operation has arrived and she's like, I've been gone, but now I'm back. All you stupid idiot boys, we're gonna figure out this murder. And she almost immediately solves it by kind of, at the funeral, they open the casket, she like opens the casket and the priest is like, oh geez, and she's like, I didn't tell you to stop priesting, priest, do more priesting stuff. And then she kind of surveys all the people she thinks might have done it in our main family. She's like looking at Royal and his sons and stuff, and everyone's kind of looking at me like, oh boy, this is a whole lot. But they're looking at the body, and then Perry just like can't even look, and she's like, it's Perry. Now that's some Sherlock shit right there. That is awesome detecting. I'm proud, Poirot's proud, Sherlock's proud, name another detective, he's proud. Good work, Mama Bear Tillerman character, who I don't know the name of. Really great stuff. I really enjoyed that. I just thought that was like a nice kind of, at first it seems like she's just like a mother who's lost in grief. She's gone crazy. She's just got to look at her son's, face. But no, it was a clever little scheme, a little plan. I also really like the idea that like they're paying everyone off. We get the big guy who's been paid off to do the land deal, and we see like the guy, the coroner who's doing like the body thingy where it's like, this is what's happened to the body, and he seems really intimidated by her, like she's like a gangster's wife kind of situation. And I really like that, like they're just throwing money about the place to kind of get what they want. I don't know, I really enjoyed all of that stuff. Really like her character, great introduction into the series. So a sequence that I found completely insane, not because of the thing, because I get that like there's a whole thing with characters just loving rocks and being like, what's with this rock? You know, Will Patton's like, this rock, I love this rock, look at me do a dance with the rock. And now Josh Brolin sees the rock necklace on potentially his daughter from the future, or who knows what's going on. But that character, the hitchhiker lady, and he's doing a poker game with her, and she's flaunting the fact, and this happens a couple of times throughout the show, where she's like, you know, in these couple of episodes, where she's like, oh, you're still very mad that I pushed you into that hole. I just wanted to see what happened. You can't blame me. That's attempted murder. As far as I'm concerned, attempted murder. That is a giant void chasm thing. It's got mysterious, floaty CGI, supernatural shit going all over the top. Like, it's clearly a very big hole, and she just pushes him. Even if it was like 10 feet. You push someone down a hill like that, you push someone into a hole that is like 10 feet, they can die. Like, he hits his head wrong, he's dead. You push him into a endless vacuum void of Lovecraftian sci-fi supernatural whatever the hell, that's totally murder. At least attempted murder. She's like, I'm so glad you came back. What are you talking about? Like, I don't know. Just nonsense, madness. I don't like her reasoning, and Josh Brolin has every right to be like, how dare you? How dare you? Give me your rock. We're going to play poker and do the rock thing. And they have a big poker game. But all I kept thinking was like, as they're doing the poker game, he's doing outrageous things. He's like, I'll give you my whole West Pasture, all 12,000 billion acres or whatever the hell, which is a lot, I have to imagine. His whole West Pasture, I feel like that's like, what, at least a third or a quarter of his whole thing. So like an outrageous amount. Like he doesn't want to give up this much, but he's going to give up this much for this little rock. Which, for his character, I kind of understand because he's seen the void. I guess the rocks they think are from the void or from the other side of the void in the future or whatever the hell. He's got a feeling, a sense. The whole rock thing's going on. But all I kept thinking, there's a bunch of people like standing around watching this poker game. What the hell would they have been thinking? They're just watching this crazy Josh Brolin being like, I'll give you everything I own. You can have all my land if you just give me your little rock necklace. We're going to gamble for the rock necklace. I'd be like, what are you doing, Josh Brolin? Like, what is even happening in your minds? Like, what did they all think was going on? It's just an insane moment. And then they do the whole poker thing where, you know, we see that she's got a royal flush or a thing of all the colors are the same or whatever. And I'm like, that's a good one. That's a real good one. And then he's like, I've got 3 kings and 2 queens or something. And I'm like, that's a really good one. And then suddenly I'm like, I feel like I'm meant to know which one's better because most people have a general idea of cards and poker and things, but I am a simpleton, as you all know, and I had no idea. I'm like, I know they're both good, but which one's better? And then Josh Brolin walks into the car and we don't see the outcome of the game, and I'm like, oh my god, I can't believe he lost. And or won, or I can't read him right now. He's doing acting, but I still can't read him. And he's like, whoocha, I've got the necklace rock thingy. And I'm like, he won! Woo! Because at one point, I'm like, is he going to lose the land? And then she's like, this is my void now. Everyone, get your big oil rigs going. Everyone gather around the void. Let's look into it. And it kind of sets up the circumstances for the future, if it is the future, of everyone looking into the void and being like, look, there's a big void. It's a big party around the void. So I thought maybe we're setting that up. But no, he wins the necklace rock thingy of... I'm very curious about the rocks. I'd love to know what people think this whole rock deal is. Is it just a rock from the void? Is it a rock from inside the void in the future? Or, I don't know, what do people think? Overall, another pretty fun 2 episodes of Outer Range. I kind of wish for a little bit more sci-fi void stuff, but you know what? We're only halfway. Hopefully there's going to be sci-fi void stuff coming at us, or which ways we're going to be like, whoa, too much void stuff, you know? I mean, I did think, in episode 2 when they're like, look inside the void, it's the future or a parallel universe or whatever the hell. It was like way too much too early, but having seen these 2 episodes, I do think you needed that stinger, that kind of, set up and that little sneak peek behind the void curtain to be like, this is, a hint at what's going on, to kind of hook those sci-fi lovers that are here for more so than for the Western kind of side of things, which I still think is really entertaining. The acting particularly is really, really great. And, who doesn't love a crime, murder, mystery, and the family's like, we're the good guys, are we? But we're also the murderers, so are we? Ooh. But you're following them, so you're still on their side more, but, they are the murderers, so... I don't know. I love a good, it's all great, it's all HBO style. Ooh. I just cannot wait for that moment where the whole family is standing around and they're all like, gee, Dad, you could have told us about this giant supernatural hole of Lovecraftian proportions. This is pretty cosmic and weird, Dad. Geez, we're just cowboys. How are we going to deal with this? And they'll just like hold their hats like, Also, I just love a show where everyone's a cowboy and they've got their hats and, they take their hats off inside, and then as they stand up, they're just like, howdy, man. Love it! Thanks for watching, guys. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and comment below. I would love to know everyone's thoughts, theories, speculation. What did everyone think of this episode? Did you want more Void? Obviously, because who doesn't want more Void?